Oh, look at that.
Yeah. We can use it at that. We got it back like mid-August.
Wow.
You're great. I once in a while. Pack everything on the day. That's good, isn't it?
Roger. Restaurant. Okay. We're just waiting for one more person to come and then we'll get going. Wrong person.
He'll do. Now,
You better watch out.
like anybody.
Yeah.
Look at the guy, you. Come on.
There he is.
Sorry.
He is all here now. So if you want to rise, we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We thank you all for coming. If you have cell phones or whatever with you, we ask that you have them turned off so don't get interrupted in the middle of things. And fire exits are marked, and can we have a roll call, please?
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Basil LaForest,
Here.
Roger Black,
Here.
Marianne Alexandra,
Here.
Patrick Duham,
Here.
Stephen Imhoff,
Here.
Alan Reese,
Here.
Brett Baker,
Here.
Matthew Fabro.
Here.
And we would need to have a motion that the meeting was advertised as required.
Make a motion?
I'll second it.
And roll call vote on that?
Henry Hill,
Yes?
Basil LaForest,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Marianne Alexandra,
Yes.
Patrick Duham.
Yes. And can we have a motion to approve last month's minutes and waive the reading of those minutes?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
And a roll call vote on that?
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Basil LaForest,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Marianne Alexandra,
Yes.
Patrick Duham.
And then we could go on to old business with Steve.
So the first old business is Zach Berta. Is he here?
I don't think so. I believe so.
Good. Request for extension and continuance, appeal 2106. He was looking for an extension. We said spring, and then we got a previous email for the March. He was looking for sufficient time to do an extension of this variance to try to get, his words, to try to get the surveyor title abstract. I believe it was title abstract, to see if there was details to go further back to see what the acquirement from NYSAG put on the properties past his, going into his, and the deeded right-of-ways going across. And he has not been able to obtain that yet, so he's looking for an extension until March of 2025.
My only question is he did put down March, but should we go for a month later just because of snow and bad weather, and how are you gonna survey?
I think it's a good idea that you make it, he's present at the April CBA meeting. Then we can have his March, and then he has to submit stuff in March to us for the April meeting.
Okay.
That's exactly 6 months, and you guys have done that in the past.
Was that advertised as part of this meeting?
No.
No, okay.
No.
All right, so we don't have to do a, no, okay, so then the motion would be to give Mr. Zach
Bordeaux.
6 months
6 months
to
extension
March.
till March
And then be present in April.
and be present in April. I made that motion.
Right.
I'll second.
Okay, show of hands on that. And a roll call vote?
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Basil LaForest,
Yes.
Marian Alexandro,
Yes.
Patrick Duhane.
Yes.
Number one down.
Andrew Sepsi?
Sure.
Come on up, front and center. So the next appeal is 2320, Mr. Sepsi at 9 Point Cliff Drive. He's been in front of you guys 2 months ago, I believe. He's revised, oh, you can have a seat right up front. If you like. You're the man, the myth, the legend right now.
I don't know about that.
A request to be allowed to place a 12 by 28 prefab shed in the front yard, which doesn't meet the 30-foot front yard setback in an R1 district. It encroaches 14.6 feet into the roadside front yard setback, leaving 15.4 feet to the property line. You guys asked for some easements, some information on the town one, NICEAG one, where it was gonna go, and reasoning behind it. So he got tabled, I believe, 2 months ago with some new information that was provided. And I think Alan can review the property and show you what's going on.
Mr. Chairman, this is Route 9 coming south out of town. This is Woodcliff Drive coming up like this. This is Point Cliff right here. This parcel right here is the one we're talking about. That's 9 Point Cliff. You can see that the town road comes up and stops right here at the front of his parcel. So again, this is the R1 district. That's what all this is, and this is his parcel right here. So aerial photo, this is his house here. He's looking to put the shed right up in this area. The lines are skewed, so the front is actually over here. It looks like today, so you can tell right here where the mailboxes are, goes across. This is where the town road stops. That's actually his front. So as soon as you get to the mailbox, you turn to the left. You see the telephone pole right here. So there's a line that comes right down this way. And then a telephone pole over here. There's a line that comes over here, actually goes to his house. This was the easement map that was provided to us. So this shows that there's a NICEAG one that comes right here, 15 feet on either side of this property line. Another one that comes across that telephone pole, and the line comes over to his house here. And you can see in this corner, let me get that back. This is the shed right here he's putting, so outside this easement and outside this easement over here. There's a blow up at that corner. So the 15.4 is the bottom number right here. Sir, anything you'd like to add?
No, I did pull the easements, okay, from the original easements that were signed, and it clearly states that it's a 10-foot, right? I went to 15 foot, and I had the shed put onto the drawing to make it a little bit easier to conceptualize where it was going to be.
Okay, so 30 feet
30 feet total.
tall, so 15. Oh,
Yeah, it says at the bottom that the grantor and said use of the said ground shall maintain a clearance of 10 feet or more from the grantee's serial wires with equipment and otherwise.
Open up public hearing portion of the meeting. Anybody here like to speak to this matter? And I believe it went down, we have a letter to read in.
So we read it last month. I think we read it last month. We did? Okay, so we read it last month, the letter of objection.
And if we go over our balancing tests, some of the things that you already, you have basically 2 front yards.
Yes.
And actually the rear of your home, or the lake side of your home, you would not be able to put a shed there. It's not practical to put that there. The topography of the whole area sort of tells you where you have to put something to a certain extent. The placement, best location because of topography, impact in the neighborhood. How many houses are up to the left of his house? Where do they get to?
So, correct. So the town road comes and stops here, but then there's his driveway goes to the left. There's another driveway that comes around to the corner to this house down here.
But I'm looking to the
The shed go here. I mean, this is the closest neighbor for that shed right here.
Okay. And with the growth there, it would even be visible, would it?
No, no. If you look at the
I don't see it as a real undesirable change in the neighborhood character. What were you going to be storing in there?
Household stuff. I mean, it's not gonna be a workshop or anything, it's just for general storage. I don't have any storage in my house.
Okay.
There is no attic, so.
So I didn't know if you had lawn equipment or.
I mean, I'm sure I'll keep the lawnmower in there, some of my tools in there, just general
Yeah.
shed stuff.
Yard stuff.
Yes.
And then what, 12 by 20 you said, Steve?
Yes.
12 by 28.
Go back to the driveway, viewing. Right there. So where does your property line lie that you know of as far as where that tree line is?
See where, yes, pretty much about that tree line. It's probably maybe a foot or 2 foot back from that.
So the tree line is yours or the neighbors, do you know?
The tree line is, some of it is mine, most of it's the neighbors.
Perfect, okay. But that's right underneath the right of way to the electric.
That is correct.
So they had to clean it to be up to that. Nice.
Yes, yes.
Whether the requested substantial portion of that is due to the fact of his topography of the area again, just where there's not too many locations that are even close to being level. And whether the request will have adverse physical or environmental effects, and whether or not it's self-created. Any board members have any questions or comments or concerns that they would like to make? Well, I don't. Oh, you don't?
No, I think it answers the questions we had at the last
Right.
meeting, that we didn't know where the line was, what the
Yeah.
width was, and we didn't have really a survey to know whether you were gonna be in all the various easements that go across your property.
And that's one of the reasons why I had the shed actually added to the site map,
Mhm.
my own maps, because it's just easier to
Gives
see.
us something
Yeah,
to look
that's-
at.
Mary Ann, Roger, anybody?
No, I'm comfortable.
You're comfortable? So we reviewed, and so the motion would be to grant the variance or deny the variance.
I'll make a motion to grant the variance based on the 2 front yards that the law provides. It doesn't really provide any other alternative. So I would go ahead and request a
Okay,
variance.
so second. And show of hands, and a roll call vote,
Henry Hill,
yes.
Basil LaForest,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexandra,
Yes.
Patrick Dugan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yes. I do have one question. How long is a variance good for? Because it's kind of late in the year to be putting the shed in.
It's good for 1 year.
1 year? Okay. All right, thank you. Well, thank you for your time and consideration.
Good night.
You too.
Next appeal is 2334 CIDC of Plattsburgh LLC. We have 3 separate variances requests that we had tabled from last month because of 280As, where it was going to go, or whether it was going to need frontage, area variances. All of them have been, I believe, addressed in front of you. We'll go through the details first to make sure you know each one and how we're going to proceed. Oh, you broke down. Perfect. So they're asking for a 280A variance request from Aaron Obius on behalf of CIDC and BBL Services as the builder. They're located on Industrial Boulevard, part of the tax parcel 22013.1.1, to be allowed access to the subject property for the proposed construction of a career technical education and workforce training facility, which the property is deficient of the required 100-foot road frontage in an SD town center district. Alan's got some details to show you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, this is out at the old county airport. So this is Military Turnpike up here. You can see right through here is what will soon be our new town road extension. Comes out to around about here. They're actually subdividing this property off right here. So you can see that the property where they're going to subdivide actually has 2 zoning districts. So this is the T6, and this lighter green here is the SD. So their frontage will eventually come off of this roundabout and the extension of the road over here, so that's why we have it as a SD zone. So a little closer view, so it's an extension right here, they're cutting off, subdividing off. This is our extension of our road, roundabout here, and then it comes out this way. So here's the subdivision map, so everything here in purple here. You can see our roundabout here, and how it comes down and touches right here in the front. But as of right now, this extension has not been dedicated and accepted by the town, so therefore it's not public right of way, so basically a landlocked parcel. That's why they're in front of you for 280A. Here's where the complex is. This is where that our soon-to-be road ends right here. They're actually going to extend the road to here, and this will be the driveway coming in. But like I said, since it's not accepted and dedicated now, they need a 288 variance. That's what our roundabout looks like. So that extension of the road, this is the driveway comes over here and then extends into there. Where the fence ends, that's where our road ends.
You guys like to come up front, sir?
One time?
We're gonna, yeah, one at a time.
Okay. Good evening, we're back.
Good evening, you're back.
Aaron Ovius, representing BBL and Columbia Development, Brandon Safer. I think everyone was here last month when we presented the project to you. I think Alan did a good job. So basically, you know, the road has been constructed. It has not been accepted by the town board yet. They're working through some technical issues with the light fixtures not being what the town highway department wanted. So until the light fixtures get swapped out, the town's unwilling to take it. So it's fully constructed. It's going to be a road. It's just not a road today. So really, the 280 variance is just bridging the gap from where we are today. And as Alan mentioned, you can see in the top left, the shaded area, we're actually extending that road with our project. So really, you know, prior to the facility being open, there will be an extension of town road. We'll have adequate frontage. So 288 variance is just bridging the gap from today until, you know, prior to us being completed with work. I would like just to point out that we did, you know, obviously with 288 variance, you know, the question becomes the suitability of existing access for, you know, fire service, etc. We did have a call and meeting with emergency services, Eric Day and Kelly Donahue. I just want to put this in for the record, so you'll have it. The email from Kelly Donahue, basically stating that the, you know, site when completed will have suitable access. He's actually given an RA 911 address. So really, I guess if you have any questions, won't have to answer them. But the simpler one, I guess. So, right, we did submit. Right, some confusion on the application. We submitted both because we didn't know if the town board had accepted the road. In the time between last meeting and this meeting, we said if they accept the road, all right, we're 75 feet instead of 100. If they don't accept the road, it's a 288 variance. So it's just, you know.
Okay, so which one are we doing first now?
Just the 288 one.
Okay. So there's no real check on that because it's just gonna be our approval, it's gonna give it to it.
Right, well, I mean, I've got it set up so once you do this one, then we'll go to the next one, and the next one.
Right, no, I'm saying though, okay, yeah. I would not do an area checklist for this.
No.
No, we're just gonna have an open meeting.
Yeah.
Anybody here like to speak to this matter? And not seeing anybody raise a hand, we can close the public hearing, or do we have a letter from the county?
It's the county's
We
property.
did.
Technically, it's the county's property.
Yeah,
It's conflict.
I think they were in favor of the action too.
It's just, it did go down for a 239, or yeah, 239 M referral for an area variance, and it was approved 8-0, and no comments.
So our motion would be then to approve the 288A for this project.
To create the lot.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve the 288, create the lot.
We got a second?
I'll second
And a show of hands. And a roll call vote.
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Basil LaForest,
that. Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Marion Alexander,
Yes.
Patrick Duhane.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now,
So now the next one is the 2331.
Just let the, again, maybe just clarify, let the record know that the planning board was lead agent and they completed the seeker, so you didn't have to do a seeker for this, they completed it already.
So this one is a request on the same parcel, the same deal, to allow to construct a career facility, work training with a setback set 873 feet from the front property line, which increases the 20 maximum foot front yard setback by 853, which is not allowed in a T6 district.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, you may remember last month, there was some confusion about what we were gonna use as a front yard, either extension of Ruger or what we just showed, the roundabout. So they had originally thought it was gonna be, the extension of Ruger, so the numbers were different. So this is a revised, we're now using a roundabout area as the front that we just granted 288 for. So the numbers changed, still the same variance. Okay, so this is the layout. Now, because the building sits in the T6 district, that's why we're using T6 rules. So we're looking at the setback, the front edge of this building from the property line up here is what we're looking for. So.
Right. So when you look at the zoning map, really, this parcel where we're developing is the only T6 designation. You have SD to the west, to the north. You have land conservation to the south, and then you have the turnpike, which is.
That's D2.
So, and the T6 district was established, if you read the ordinance, really to create, small commercial developments close to the street front, highly walkability, so they talk about in the ordinance, creating, restaurants and small service facilities, and, the intent in the ordinance, if you look at some of the demonstrations, I'm sure you're all well familiar with it, really to create that walkable downtown feel with the parking in the rear, which, in this situation, we're building a school, which is a little unique. It is allowed use, but doesn't lend itself to being close to that property line. And really, the goal is to put the building close to the other campus buildings, so it's more of a campus feel with the central parking. So what happens is the ordinance says that we need to be within 20 or 30 feet of the front yard. So that building would have to be shifted to the west, 800 feet, and just be isolated from the rest of the campus. It really doesn't make a lot of sense for our minds. So that's why we're here tonight, obviously asking you for the variance.
open up the public hearing portion of the meeting. Anybody here like to speak to this matter? Let's see, anybody raise a hand? Close the public hearing portion of the meeting. I believe it went down to the county again and they had the same response to this one too, I believe.
This one was a 9-0 instead of an 8-0. This did go down the county for a 239M referral, 7124. It was action taken on referral was approved, 9-0, with no comment.
And again, the planning board did his lead agent and cleared the seeker.
Anybody up here have any questions on that request for variance?
So I have a question. The front parcel is in what zone again? You had the map.
SD,
SD. And the requirements for that are what?
30 feet,
30.
and a T6 is 20 feet, so.
Well, yeah, so I think the SD is a minimum frontage, where the T6, the town center is a maximum. We had a situation when we looked at a project on South Miller Road, where again, the ordinance is trying to pull everybody close to the street, that walkability, so where they want the buildings tight to the road. Where this, because of the configuration of the lot, it just doesn't really make practical sense to have a school building so far from the other buildings, when you have, students and or staff moving between them.
I believe
believe when we were talking about this with planning, the thought for this being T6, I believe what they had said was, you know, there was the desire to extend Ruger Street eventually into the park. But, and if that were to happen, then they were kind of envisioning this little section as maybe being a transition, you know, zone. But since that, there are no concrete plans for that, you know.
I mean, when we look at the balancing test for this, we have whether the benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant. And
I can speak to those if you want. It's up to you.
This is not a practical for an operational
no,
standpoint.
no,
so
it's not. It's obviously you're trying to keep it a campus feel to the whole location. So undesirable change in neighborhood character or to nearby properties. It's being developed.
Right.
There's not much around there to change. And whether the request is substantial, and you could say that it's substantial, but
it's definitely unique
Substantial.
in character.
It's
It
just
is,
substantial.
right, it is substantial, but it's definitely unique. You know, that we have a small driveway coming off of one road, but we're part of a campus on the other.
This side, yeah, it's probably sorely needed. And requests will have adverse physical or environmental effects, and I don't see those actually happening. So, board members have any other comments or questions that they have?
No morals of the community have to be discussed.
Okay, so the motion would be for 800 and whatever.
853, I believe.
853.
I'll make a motion for 850.
873.
Variance. I never did one.
I don't think anybody has. Okay, a second on that one?
I'll second.
Marianne's got the second. And then a roll for show of hands. And then a roll call vote.
Henry Hale,
Yes.
Basil LaForest,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Marion Alexandra,
Yes.
Patrick Duhane.
Yeah.
So next one is 2332. Same parcel ID, same location. Allowed to construct a new building that has a flat roof that is not allowed in a T6 town district.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, it is the same building we're talking about. So just want to give you some shots. Here's the existing campus here. So this one's going to go just on the left side of this right here, out in this area. This is also the parking lot at the end of Ruger Street. So, oops, wrong way. This is on Military Turnpike. This is what most people see. This is the new administration building right here. So it comes in this way. So you can see the plane clear down here. That's the end that it's going on. And then we have a couple of pictures, renderings. This is what it's supposed to look like. That's what the flat roof. This is basically the same thing, except it's an elevation view. And then Aaron also have these, but they're kind of, you can't really see them. So I think that was the best one.
Wasn't there an issue with the building on the left there being separate or something last meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and that one, we're just going to build that one 2 stories with a sloped roof.
Mhm.
That's the smaller of the 2 buildings.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. So obviously, you know, it's the school building is definitely a little more unique than what I think the ordinance intended for that area. You know, when you talk about, even your ordinance when it shows, the Dunkin' Donuts having the pitched roof, or even as Alan showed, the existing buildings that are on the campus, they're roughly 120 feet in width. Slope roof isn't that difficult. We have a building that's roughly 225 feet wide by 555 feet in depth. So when you look at, what we've really done here is looked at the intent of the ordinance, for not only the T6, but it's interesting because if you go to 3 stories, I think you go flat roof, but, creating character in the building with the undulations of the front facades, the steps in the building heights to help, mass the overall scale of the building and also provide screening for the rooftop equipment. We did do a quick sketch, the architect provided a quick sketch of, if you did, the ordinance talks about sloped roofs being between, 5 on 12 and 12 on 12. Well, if you were to even just put a 5-on-12 roof, you're adding, 60 feet in height to the structure. So, it takes a 27-foot tall building.
We need another variance.
We need a height variance now. So,
It'd be
again,
visible from the area.
put a beacon on it. Right. So, I think as this board has looked at with some other projects, similar situations, I think the intent of the ordinance, again, with that building close to the street, smaller buildings, parking in the rear, that is a good idea, I think, with the right type of development, but with a school campus, it really is not practical. And putting a roof on it would just add so much more mass. We looked at even throwing around, okay, what is this costing? Because now the rooftop equipment has to be together, mechanical penthouse for conditioning that space, or, whatever, adding more roof, and it was, millions of dollars on top of the budget that, obviously would just be passed on to the school and the other community. So again, we think the request, although it's substantial because it's, bring it down, we think it's a reasonable request based on the use that we have, the character of the building, and then really, the architectural features of the buildings help offset, the idea that it's not just a square box. We really try to create a lot of character to it. So.
I think one of the important things, Eric Bell is here from CVES, and one of the things, when we were briefing him on what was going on with this and considering the sloped roof, they have those sloped roofs, and sloped roofs in Plattsburgh, upstate New York, you get a lot of snow and snowfalls, and when you got kids on a campus and you have large amounts of snow falling, that's really not a risk that they want to have on their campuses. They kind of inherited these buildings that existed,
Right.
so building a new one just.
Okay. Open up the public hearing portion of this meeting. Anybody here like to speak to this matter? And I don't think there was any comment from the county, or was there?
Nope, it was referral number 7224. It was approved. 239M referral was approved. 9-0 in favor. No comment.
And then I can close the public hearing portion of the meeting and go ask the board members. Anybody have any comments or questions or concerns with this?
Yeah, I just struggle with the idea that it's an allowed use, but it doesn't practically seem to allow these uses to build in these districts and meet the current code, unless I'm missing something in why it was developed or allowed in this district. I don't know what happened when the zoning was redone, but it seems like we're going to have this problem a lot if we allow certain commercial activities in these T districts. And
Well, no, it is a
the buildings
commercial
are
district.
Right, it is. I mean, if you look at your ordinance, the town center encompasses all the malls.
Yeah.
So you think about any new buildings on Smithfield Boulevard.
I'm just saying,
the malls are all pitched roofs.
doesn't seem like it's even plausible to think that commercial activity is going to have pitched roofs because they're going to be a building of that size with a 60-foot peak.
I think they're thinking about smaller.
Right. It's trying to create, I mean, I feel like town was trying to create a downtown center.
Understood. If we look at our area of variance, balancing tests, whether the benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant, we've sort of been discussing that with pitch roof of that size would actually require more variances. Undesirable change in neighborhood character to nearby properties, I think is a positive for the whole area, a nice looking building. Whether the request is substantial, I don't see it as being substantial just simply because of the size of the building that we're talking about. And whether the request will have adverse physical or environmental, and as you stated, with the snowfall, it's something that would actually be helping and controlling it. Right. So.
I'll make a motion to grant the variance.
Okay, you got a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And a show of hands and a roll call vote.
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Basil LaForest,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Marianne Alexandra,
Yes.
Patrick Dugan.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you.
Paperwork going down.
So you're here with SB signs? Planet Fitness. Yes. Appeal number 2335 is SP Signs on behalf of Planet Fitness, asking for an area variance request to be allowed to replace the existing 66.75 square foot sign in the front of the building with a proposed 161 square foot sign, which is not allowed in a T5 Town Center district. Alan's got pictures and renderings. Where we're at.
Mr. Chairman, we're talking about the Lowe's Price Chopper Plaza area. So this is the building we're talking about right here. Planet Fitness is on the upper side here. The Shoe Encore is on the bottom side. It is all zone T5. So here's the front of the building. So now they just acquired some more square footage. So it used to be 55 lineal feet across here, but then they've got a few more. I'm not sure exactly how much. That's 15, 20 feet more. And now it does come down like this. They do currently have a sign on the back, and they have the wording sign on the front. Wording sign looks like this. They have permits for the back that are replacing it in kind, so the same size. And in the front, they were looking to stack this on top of each other and then put the symbol on the front, which is why it's increasing in size. So you can see this top corner here, that's the back of the building. That one's being replaced in kind, so no need for anything except permit for that one. This is the front here, and they'd like to replace it to look like this. Ma'am, all yours. What are you going to like to add?
Oh, excuse me, could I just ask for your name, just for the record?
That's okay, Courtney, who can?
You don't have it in color, right? Did
What?
you only have a
Oh, yeah, black and white.
Can I show you a color version? So one of the things that I think is important is they're getting rid of the yellow that's behind it, which I know it's not technically, the yellow isn't technically part of the square footage of the sign as it exists now, but I think, yes, that sign's smaller. This one actually will appear a little bit smaller than it is, even though the logo itself is bigger.
So your existing square footage is 66 or something like that?
Which is just the letters.
5.75.
So you want an extra 100 square feet?
I know,
Can you explain the reasoning?
their logo changed. So the way that their national branding being used is with this configuration of the logo. So if they go to the stacked logo in this size, it could be much smaller. This is what they've put in at other locations, and they'd like to do the same at this location. So, and in the lot that it's in now, in that development, they're looking at the Lowe's and the Market 32 and the other signs at those locations. I don't have the exact sizes of those signs. It would have taken me a foyer to get those, but we feel, or they feel, that it's in keeping with the other signs in that complex.
Lowe's is about 150,000 square feet, I think, Market 32.
The stores, right?
130,000 square feet. And Runnings is another 120 or something like that, so. And those were actually put in place before the new zoning ordinance was, which is another thing that comes to mind.
The last one you granted for that one is the one right beside it. One of the shoe department.
Okay.
Was
What's
that
there, what is already there is already exceeding what our ordinance is now, and they're there by variance, and then they're asking on top of a variance that's already there, 100 square feet over what's allowed.
Yeah, right.
The word egregious comes to mind.
Was the shoe department a variance for that size?
Right, so that front part right there, the shoe department one, that's 79 square feet. But back then, when you granted that one, there was also a requirement they couldn't go over 3 feet height in letters either. That no longer exists. That's why they're able to stack these on top of each other.
Open up the public hearing portion of the meeting. Anybody here like to speak to this matter? And I think I went down to the count for 6-2 or something like that.
Yes. We've also got a good reading very closely. So this did go down to the county for 8524 referral number. For Planet Fitness, it was a local issue, 6 in favor, 2 not in favor of the action. and no comment.
So I just, looking at your design. Looks like on this page here, there's a dimension that goes beyond the letters, but is that not being considered in 161, or is it the actual?
They might be giving you the sign band, is that what it is?
Oh, is that what that is? It's the yellow area that's being marked off on this? Is that what you're saying, the 31 feet?
Yeah,
Versus the
probably.
22, it looks like 22?
Yeah, the 31, I guess.
You have to use the ones that say at the
Yeah.
top left corner.
Right, that's what I'm
Oh,
asking, yeah,
yeah.
that's the 161.
No, that's the sign, but the rectangle, you can't see it very well in the black and white, but there's the sign band that's yellow now,
Yeah.
is the 31.
Sorry, I just gotta look at the numbers.
So it's a little bit easier to do. So the overall width, so when we take into, as I'm sure you know, but when we take into account the square footage, we essentially draw a box around the whole thing.
Correct.
Even the white space, yeah.
Well, that's why I just
So,
wanted to make
yeah.
sure we weren't looking at this.
No. So the box drawn around the sign itself is just over 26 feet, 3/8 of an inch overall width, from the start of the logo to the end of the S.
And that's including the Planet Fitness.
Yeah, that's from the whole thing, if we draw a box around it, so.
I can't see too well, but what's the size of the letters? Is that 3 foot? 3'3"? The letter size?
Yeah, I think, 3/6,
3'6".
yeah, is the L.
And so I just wanna go back to the original, what's the square footage in 67?
65.75 is what it was here.
Yeah, the square footage I'm showing in the description is that top left corner.
Right, but the current square footage is 65.5?
65.75.
Right, and that's based off the permit that they did back in 2014 or what it was. The 27.5 inches tall letters and 263 inches long.
And the width of the lettering, is that 13.7?
The width from the end of the edge of the P, the left edge of the P to the
Yeah.
right edge of the S is
18?
2 and 7
It's like
eighths.
3 foot, that's 3 foot on the right, so.
I really should have brought my glasses.
Well, yeah, these are just, you can't see the print, that's all.
Anybody else have questions?
It seems to me that if you just did with the letters, I guess, in a new format, it would pretty much meet the current square footage. But if I'm not
Speaking
mistaken.
about 50, so the new
Or
logo.
maybe not, no, I guess it wouldn't, because you got
No.
twice as much, you got
Yeah.
6 feet, not 3, right?
Yeah, so the new logo is about 8.6 by 7.2, so. Maybe you're looking 60 some odd square feet, so we'd still be close to we'd be closer to 100 square feet.
127.
If we go to the balancing test, we got whether the benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant, and I would say yes. Undesirable change in neighborhood character or nearby properties, I don't think it's a commercial area where signage is there already. Whether the request is substantial, and I would say yes again, and whether the request will have adverse physical or environmental, I would say no. And that's where we're standing right now, so it would be either a yay to 161 square feet or a nay.
But then there's an option 2 that's on there,
It's basically staying as.
which
as
would
it is.
leave it the same as it is now, or?
So they're going, the sign that's there now needs to be changed. They've
Right.
determined that it's too old, so they have to change something. So it's either going to be going to a different configuration of their logo or,
What's the,
I don't know.
let's see if I can see that again. So the current size of the letters, they're pretty much staying the same, is what you're saying.
The letters themselves.
Right.
You don't have from that permit what the letter height was from 2014.
It looks like 3 feet 1 inch on this thing here. 3
Yeah.
foot 1
3 foot 1 and 3/8.
by
From the original
21.
there, okay.
So if you went 3 and did it by 9, you'd still, I mean, just trying to figure out how to stay within the same square footage without the new logo and still have a stackable lettering. You'd have to be 9 foot wide versus 21, which the current sign, each wording is roughly 10 feet long, even with the space in between, give or take. So it looks like the lettering would be almost 9 feet in length if they were to just stack Planet Fitness this way at the current 3 foot, 3 foot, without the logo. And there, I guess I just, it seems like the request is too substantial. So the alternative is you can still get stackability and still stay within the 65 square feet. And I don't think it's going to change the size of the lettering that's there just because it's old. It'd be in keeping changing the sign, but yet staying within the current limits, which is already a variance over what was allowed.
Can you, Alan, is the current zoning, are the regs without variances 25 square feet per linear foot of frontage?
For every linear feet, you get half.
Half.
So 1 foot, you get half a square foot. So whatever that Planet Fitness currently is, which I don't know, it used to be 55, but I said it's more now.
Yeah.
Half of that, and then it's because since they're off of the road, they get a 60% increase.
50%?
60.
60%, okay.
Do you know what the width of their usable space is?
I don't have the exact for the new one, no.
And why did you say that you thought it was 15 feet or something? How do you get that?
Well, we just did the renovation, so I know it's only about 15 or 20 more feet that they actually got from the other space.
So it's about 70.
So if I say it's 75 feet, okay, so now you're looking more about 37 square feet plus the 60% increase.
Well, let the calculator man do it.
Those guesses, and the info's not in front of me.
Yeah.
It's on the estimate, it's only be 60 feet allowed. That would be
So
going out at the
they're
higher
just as
end
well off just replacing the existing.
Right. to stay within that variance now.
Morally.
Huh?
Morally. That's what you would want to do.
Inside joke, don't worry about that. Yeah.
So right now, if you swapped it out even for even,
The awful thing
you got
when you
more
have to
square
stick with the law, but then make fun of it. We're trying
All
to
right,
adhere
so
to
who's
it.
making the motion here?
So, man, this is, so if you think that you're gonna wanna do something completely different,
Yep.
you go back and talk to your people about that,
Yep.
you're gonna wanna ask to be tabled.
Okay.
Because if they vote, you don't get the chance to come back for something else. If they come back and say, well, we can squeeze 67 feet in there, you still need a
Okay.
5-foot variance. You don't get that chance. They
Okay,
vote.
so we should then table it, so then if we're really close and we wanna ask for 2 feet, we might have a chance, but if we don't, if you vote and say no, then we're stuck with 60.
5.75.
So how do I make that request officially?
You just did that.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
I make the motion we tabled until next month.
And then if they decide to stay within the existing,
It's just a permit.
There's no care.
All right, show of hands on that. And then roll call vote on the tabling.
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Bobby DeForest.
Yes,
Roger Black.
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander.
yes.
Patrick Dugan.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Boy, you guys are quick on those, aren't you?
Just want to be morally correct.